Eldorado's sky split into two impossible battles at once. Guy stepped into Velzard's blizzard with a smile he probably regretted, while Diablo drifted above the castle and made Zarario furious before the real fight even began.
AI Anime and Manga presents.
Like, comment, subscribe, and YouTube members get early access. Velzard was not simply being controlled, and Zarario had just realized Diablo's training partner might be worse than any battlefield rumor. Guy's party stormed out to intercept the enemy, only to find a giant blizzard raging outside. It was Velzard's special gift. Guy said he would take care of her, and nobody tried to stop him. The two of them had fought many times from the distant past to very recently, but Velzard was still absurdly strong. Guy was the only natural opponent for her here, and she was not holding back. As proof, she had transformed from a young girl into an adult woman, her eyes golden instead of their usual deep-sea blue. They shone beautifully and dangerously, portending disaster. This was Velzard fighting in her real mode, and it made Guy understand just how serious she was. Worse, Velzard had gone mad, in a good way. When Guy flew up to her there in the middle of the snowstorm, she greeted him with open joy. Velzard shouted that she loved him and begged him to join her so they could kill, and kill some more. She challenged him with a gigantic smile on her face.
I told you that's nothing but trouble.
Guy was just as serious about fighting back. Taking it easy against Velzard would be suicide. So, in the skies above the castle, a battle broke out between two of the most powerful forces in the world. Guy was strong. His EP was extremely high, almost reaching 40 million, but Velzard was on another level. Her power was more than twice Guy's, almost beyond imagination. She was the younger sister of the creator for a reason, and on the surface of the planet she wielded absolute power. Even worse, she had never truly fought all out before. Not even against her sister Belgrand. When she fought, she usually took the form of a little girl, sealing away her powers. When she obliterated Veldora, that had been nothing more than a playful blow. Her strikes were not merely powerful. They were brutally energy efficient. The only time Velzard ever got serious was when she fought Guy. He could meet her only because of his superior battle sense. He was also trying to keep the fight from damaging the people and buildings below, which said plenty about just how all-powerful Guy Crimson could be. As usual, the battle was becoming a stalemate. Then Guy realized something. Velzard was not being controlled at all. He had been sure she was, but now, in his mind, it looked more like she had simply chosen not to resist the thrall because her desires matched those of her new companions. Velzard looked so happy. It was a face that brought back memories for Guy, a face she only showed in the middle of battle. That was not exactly good news. Guy was fed up with it. Velzard had bottled up these desires for so long, and now Feldway and his people had set them free. Until Velzard could be convinced otherwise, their relationship would never improve. If this were only mind control, they could shut it off and fix everything. But it was not, and now Guy had nothing left to try. Velzard would not be persuaded. The only way to restore her sanity was to let her have at it with Guy for as long as she wanted.
I never should have left my bedroom today.
Guy was whining, but there was a bold smile on his face. He lunged at his enemy once more, enjoying every moment. Even higher above the castle than Velzard and Guy, Feldway and Zarario were facing Diablo. Feldway mocked Diablo for thinking a single evil demon could take them both on, as if Diablo did not know his place.
You told me to prepare for the worst the next time we met. You will be entertaining me today, won't you?
Feldway scoffed. He did not have time to play with Diablo, so he left the fight to Zarario. Feldway wanted to avoid a decisive battle with Diablo. He knew how much of a headache that demon was, and he hesitated to take him on seriously. Without another word, he headed for the castle. Diablo thought about getting in his way, but Zarario would not allow it. The angel hated this situation, especially being forced into it, and honestly wanted to refuse Feldway. But this was an order from his direct superior, so he had no choice but to comply. Zarario accepted the role. Diablo had obtained his name since their last meeting, so Zarario decided to see how much stronger he had become. With that, the two of them entered battle. Zarario may not have wanted to be there, but he liked his chances. He had just obtained a physical body, and it already seemed to fit like a glove. For the first time in too long, he could exert his full strength without breaking himself in the process, and that thought lifted his spirits. Zarario opened with 8-way Dark Authority. The technique was simple. He gathered his aura around his palm, then released it. But the power was immeasurable. 8 projectiles streamed toward Diablo.
Ridiculous. So that truly is all you have to offer.
Diablo could not have sounded more bored. This was not a strategy to provoke his opponent, and it was not bragging. He meant it. In an even match, if neither side was clearly stronger, the opening moves had to be handled carefully. Diablo lightly dodged the blasts, then glared at Zarario.
Wasting your energy like this. Were you just some amateur who happened to have a little muscle?
He was being serious about that, too. Zarario kept his composure no matter how irritating Diablo was. This was exactly why he hated him, he thought as he hid his anger. Zarario told Diablo to be silent. That attack had not even counted as expending energy for him. The absolute amounts of power inside the two of them were like night and day, so Diablo should worry about himself first. And that was true. Zarario was a different creature from the one who had stormed Ramirez's labyrinth. With his physical body, he could fully tap into the power of his real body from the Mystic Palace. With an EP count over 20 million, he was certain not even a true dragon could defeat him. A little excessive energy use could be made up instantly. It was not worth worrying about. Diablo sniffed at this.
This is why amateurs don't belong here. In our battles, we must either eliminate the opponent with a single blow, or prepare ourselves for a prolonged fight. If you don't understand that, Zarario, well, you've been lazy with your training, haven't you?
Diablo's superiority complex was starting to grate on Zarario. He could have endured it if Diablo spoke this way after beating him, but the fight had only just begun. Trying to sap an opponent's will to fight was valid strategy, but that did not seem to be Diablo's aim. He was honestly giving Zarario a warning. Zarario understood that, and it irritated him even more. Zarario snapped that he did not need Diablo's advice. Diablo did not need to worry about him. Zarario had fought on the front lines for years and years against the Insectors, the nemesis of angels and demons alike. He would teach Diablo that surface dwellers who lounged around this world were nothing to him.
Well, good to know that. And don't worry, I've been constantly fighting to the death against Sir Zegion as well. He's an Insector too, and on the strong side of them, I believe. Also, much to my envy, Sir Rimuru has even granted him some of his cells, so there's very little to his body that's vulnerable at all. Even for me, he is a difficult foe to conquer.
When Diablo said there was very little of Zegion vulnerable to attack, he did not mean it literally. That was a rule Diablo had invented for himself. When he fought Zegion, he refused to target anywhere on Zegion's body that might contain Rimuru's cells. This rule was also why the 3 demonesses had yet to defeat Zegion, but that was another story. Zarario started to dismiss him. He did not know what Diablo was talking about, but surely no training on this world could ever compare. Then Zarario stopped himself mid-sentence. At first, the name Zegion had not registered with him, but Dino had described Zegion as a serious challenge. Even Zaranis had shown a healthy interest in him. And if Diablo was not merely training but literally fighting to the death against him, Zarario decided this was no time for playing after all. So Zarario finally resolved to get serious, and the real battle between him and Diablo was about to begin.
Route confirmed. The next episode and full playlist are ready.
Then don't stop here. Keep watching in story order and subscribe before the next part drops.